The Lakers are up 2-0. Game 3 tonight, they're favored by 6.5 points. And one of the things that I've noticed regarding this series is this series signifies a changing of the guard, where LeBron James, unfortunately for many folks, will no longer be able to call himself the best player in the league. Analysts, they'll no longer really be able to say like, okay, he's the best player in the league, especially with that clutch shot that Anthony Davis has hit. Anthony Davis is averaging about 34 points and I believe like 11 rebounds or 9 rebounds per game in this series on like 57% shooting. So Anthony Davis is solidifying himself as the go-to guy on this Lakers team and their Lakers run. And this is the first time that LeBron James' legacy will be threatened by the very thing that he made popular, which is teaming up. You know, he recruited Anthony Davis, wanted to make his life easier in terms of playing with the Lakers and having a big man that can score, he could score. But now, the same thing he did to Wade, Bosh, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Love, he's essentially turning himself like what he did to those guys into like basically the second fiddles or almost like a role player. Even though LeBron has big moments, big blocks, and everything like that, all the big moments are where Anthony Davis have been shining in the series thus far. So that being said, it's kind of the irony in the situation is this is the same thing that you did to other guys. You relegated guys to being like corner shooters, or they only could take over at certain times, or you get all the credit and they did not. I.e. Kyrie Irving for hitting the biggest shot in Cleveland history, and people always gloss over that. Anthony Davis might be the Finals MVP. Well, guess what? If Anthony Davis is the Finals MVP, that kills your GOAT talk for LeBron. Even though he'll have 4 rings, LeBron was never looked at as a person who, to me, like, a ring was enough. Because he called himself the greatest of all time or the chosen one, etc., people label him that, he needs to win the ring and the Finals MVP. So the criteria for him is changed, as opposed to when you look at somebody like Kobe, he just needs the rings because he already had all the moves. He never labeled himself anything. He's kind of separated himself from Michael. He never, after a while, you could see the difference in the two guys. Even though they're very similar games, you could see Kobe had his own lane, Michael had his own lane. LeBron was like, he has his own lane, but he still wants to nudge Mike off the road himself. That being said, in order to do so, you can't just win the championship and be like second guy and you had a good series too. You need to be the guy to outshine everybody. And with Anthony Davis in the mix, he won't outshine everybody. In my opinion, and within the next 3 years, or I'm pretty sure it'll happen anyway, but within the next 2 years, LeBron should really consider retiring and retiring on top. You know, one of the things that you have to really factor in what I'm saying about changing the guard. Game 2, LeBron disappeared in the 4th quarter. He didn't score. And even though he plays well early on, Father Time is undefeated. And you always want to go out on top. You don't want people remembering you where you weren't at your best. If the Lakers can recruit another guy to come to play for the team, if they win this championship this year, they definitely should consider, LeBron definitely should consider retirement. Like, retire on top. You'll be the first player to win 3 different championships in 3 different cities or 3 different teams. Also, you'll be able to recruit, your stock will be high, and then you can purchase the team and become an owner because your stock is so high. So these are the things I think LeBron should really consider. But moving over off of legacy, we're talking about how the Nuggets could really make this a series. If they lose tonight, the series is over. There's no comeback from the 3-0. Nobody has ever done it. 3-1, that's a difference. The Nuggets, I think they can make this a series due to a couple things. The fatigue factor. They're tired. They've been playing multiple Game 7s. And on top of that, they had to play Game 1 against the Lakers relatively quickly. Quick, fast turnaround. You saw Game 2, they played more to their speed and more to what they do. Also, like I said, since the quick turnaround, they had that Game 7 malaise. You got to understand, you prepared so much for the Clippers, you have limited time to prepare for the Lakers. You've seen 2 games where what the Lakers do, how they do it, how they run everything. So now it's time for you to do what? Mike Malone, make adjustments. I think some of the adjustments that they need to make is when they run that pick and roll, they need to incorporate Millsap more so they can get switches on the smaller guards and get them in foul trouble. This way, you get the guards in foul trouble so Jamal Murray could operate in the paint. I mean, get to the paint, get to the rack, because the guards can't touch them. Another key aspect that they have to really do is they have to get somebody to screen for Joker so they can get Dwight Howard off of Joker or JaVale McGee, Anthony Davis. They have to start screening for Joker, and also they have to run a lot more pin downs because they have shooters. So I think with a lot of, if they incorporate a lot of movement, they could actually potentially win Game 3. The issue here is that shot. How do you bounce back from the shot that Anthony Davis hit? Where essentially the series is going to be tied 1-1. So that's going to tell me a lot about their mental fortitude. Unfortunately, the games are like a very, very fast turnaround now. So we're going to have to see if they can make adjustments on the fly, because Frank Vogel is going to put a little wrinkle in everything. For the Lakers, I look for, this is what we need. If the Lakers want to go up 3-0, they need LeBron to have a quarter. Not a big quarter, not a small quarter, a quarter. He needs to show up and score, not have 4 turnovers in the corner or 3 turnovers in the quarter, because he's a primary ball handler. And also Anthony Davis to play how he's been playing, averaging about 30-something. So those are like really the keys to Game 3. For the Lakers, they need to throw one little wrinkle in the mix to throw Denver off, and LeBron needs to come up big, because if LeBron comes up big and they eradicate them in a Game 3, then they know Game 4 is a lock, and they're going to come up focused because they smell blood in the water. As far as the Nuggets, they have to get more movement. They have to screen for Jokic, and they have to get Jamal Murray going in terms of, you know, the switches. Get a big on the switch, or get Millsap going on the switch. Like, I don't understand why Mike Malone doesn't use Millsap as much. He has a lot of talent, but it's just like he's trying to go guard oriented, and that's not really going to work against the Lakers. You saw what was working. Jokic scored 11 straight points, not guard oriented. So that's going to be the key to Game 3. Hoops Junction, Hoops meets Hooper. Like, comment, subscribe.